Good morning. Welcome back. The Trump administration making moves to make America safe again, while cities like Chicago, Atlanta, and Austin are defying our president and offering free legal help to illegal immigrants at risk of deportation.
Yes, with your money, 11 cities, many of them with high crime rates, now taking money out of your pockets, your tax dollars, to foot the bill for illegal immigrants. Here to weigh in is Steve Cortes, Fox News contributor and former Trump Hispanic Advisory Board member. Thank you, sir, for coming on this morning. I just want to start off. Good morning to you. And I want to start off with this. When did it become okay in this country to come into a country illegally and start making demands about, being able to stay, and then get politicians on board to help pay for the process?
It's outrageous, isn't it? It's not okay, is the answer. And by the way, it's most disrespectful to legal immigrants, people like my father who went through the very difficult process, timely and costly process to become a legal American immigrant, whom we love. But no, we cannot tolerate this kind of insanity. I'll tell you this. I think people like Mayor Rahm Emanuel here in Chicago, a lot of other mayors and governors around the country, the way they are flouting federal law, I think reminds me a lot, frankly, of the Southern governors in the 1960s, people like George Wallace, who refused to honor federal law for their own political, parochial aims and goals. When it comes to, I'm all for local control, I'm all for federalism, but when it comes to immigration, federal law is clearly paramount, and cities like Chicago need to stop thumbing their nose at the federal government and at federal laws for a narrow political agenda.
Well, right. Chicago is one of the 11 safe cities, and we have a graphic to show you some of the other cities that include Sacramento, Baltimore, Atlanta, Austin, San Antonio. Speaking of Baltimore, I'm reading an article right now. Baltimore's mayor has been cited saying our community is safest when our neighbors trust their officials and institutions and know they will be treated justly and with dignity, saying that providing this legal representation to illegals helps keep us all safe. In what world is that a good idea for taxpayers to pay that money to keep them safe in their city when you've got a city like Chicago that has crime rates that are skyrocketed?
Right, Jillian, we're about to reach, unfortunately, a very grim milestone here in Chicago of 600 murders for the year. So in many parts of this city, it's the Wild West, and it's incredibly sad, especially for the children who live in those neighborhoods who can't even play in the park safely. And yet, what is our mayor focused on? He's taking, think about this, Jillian. So if you're a Chicago, hardworking Chicago cop, some of the tax money that you pay to the city is going to prevent the federal authorities, to prevent ICE from deporting dangerous people who don't belong here in the first place. I mean, think of the insanity of that not only is that happening, but you're paying for it. You're almost paying to make your city less safe. It's just outrageous. Well, it's pandering, political pandering at its worst.
And, Steve, and when you say pandering, I think that's perfect, because I love to remind people of this, that President Obama was referred to as the deporter-in-chief, and that he went after a number of illegal immigrants. His numbers were even worse than President Trump initially. But back then it wasn't racist for whatever reason. Maybe it was because the president wasn't a white man or whatever it was, that people allowed that to be just fine. Nobody had any issue with it up until the last year. And your first point was, I think, the best one that you made, is that there are millions of people around the world dying to get into this country that have to do it the right way, that don't have the convenience of a porous southern border with the United States. What do you say to all of them? Can they all just come in now? Is that cool?
Right. No, and we need a mayor. Look, again, I love legal immigration. All of us, if we're not Native Americans here, are immigrants or the descendants of immigrants. So we love it. We need to do it better in this country. I really agree with President Trump that we need a merit-based system. We have far too much chain migration. A merit-based system, control of our southern border. And by the way, President Trump, I think, gets too little credit for this. Our southern border is largely already under control, just from better enforcement and some clear-eyed rhetoric from our officials. Now, we need to get it completely under control with a wall, but the progress he's made there in less than a year has really been astounding. But look, you're right. Legal immigration is a treasure to this country. Illegal immigration is a scourge upon this country, and particularly when it comes to law enforcement. And we should be enabling and helping the feds with anything they need to enforce federal laws, not standing in their way with free legal welfare to illegal immigrants.
Steve Cortes, thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.